Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. And look, who's in charge? That's the question I want to know. Who's in charge? The fighter, the promoter, or the manager? Because Ryan Garcia obviously has his own ideas about his career and who he wants to fight. And Oscar De La Hoya has his own ideas about Ryan Garcia's career and who's Ryan is going to fight. So who's in charge? Now, what I will tell you is, I think some people get the lines a bit blurred when it comes to a promoter, manager, advisor. They're all supposed to be independent of each other unless you're Al Heyman, right? And you figured out how to skirt the system. Well, not advisor, promoter and manager. They're supposed to be independent of each other. Al Heyman figured out how to skirt the system and then came up with the title advisor. So basically what he's doing, he's wearing both hats, the promoter and manager hat, but he's just advising. But hey, that's the law's fault that he was able to find loopholes in that Muhammad Ali Act. But let's understand this. Promoter is not the manager, okay? And there's a huge difference between the two. And the manager's job is to look out for the interests of the boxer. So I don't know who manages Ryan Garcia. His dad? See, that's something, I don't know. I keep hearing the name Lupe. But whoever's supposed to be managing Ryan Garcia, that's the person supposed to be looking out for the best interests of Ryan. Now, the promoter's job is to look out for the best interests of the promoter. And that's why we have a problem here. So sometimes the promoter's interest aligns with the boxer's interest, but there are a lot of times where it just doesn't. And what you look at here with Ryan Garcia and De La Hoya, in my opinion, I think De La Hoya, in a weird way, I think he wants to see Ryan Garcia lose. I think he wants Ryan Garcia to get his ass kicked because De La Hoya can't do it. I mean, I think technically if they would ever exchange blows, I think De La Hoya knocks Ryan Garcia out. I mean, they both, I guess whoever lands the left hook first, right? But I think De La Hoya, even with Duarte, I think they were hoping for Duarte to kind of teach Ryan Garcia a lesson. You can be humble. Remember with Bernard Hopkins, if you could make sense of whatever the hell he's saying when he does open his raggedy ass mouth, right? Something about reality coming to you real quick and getting humbled in the ring. But nonetheless, Duarte looked like he was on his way, but mission failed. Now you got where they're trying to put him in there with this other guy, Ramirez. And, Ryan Garcia's like, nah, I'm not fighting him. Ryan wanted Rolly. Supposedly Rolly outpriced himself. So you end up here in a situation to where De La Hoya wants Ramirez, Ryan wants to do something different. Why Ryan wants to do something different, I don't know. I understand Rolly's probably a lot more money, but I don't understand why Ryan wouldn't want to fight Ramirez, because if you ask me, if you would have asked me this before, if you would have asked me this when, and there wasn't any drama between Ryan and De La Hoya, I'd say Ryan's putting duck sauce on the fried rice. But I think Ryan's just trying to show, like, look, this is who's in charge, right? Because this is my thing. We always hear Eddie Hearn and other promoters. Look, I work for the fighter. It's the fighter's the boss, the fighter this, right? You heard Terrence Crawford talking about it. Earl Spence talking about it. All these fighters talk about it's the fighter who's in charge. The fighter's putting their lives on the line. Deontay Wilder talked a lot about it. But then you come down to where it is, well, hold on, there's a contract in place. Fighter. So you guys can puff up your chest and make all the noise you want. There's a contract here. And my thing is, just because there's a contract there doesn't mean Ryan Garcia has to fight Ramirez. He didn't sign a contract to fight him. Unless in his promotional contract, it says that the fighter will fight whoever the promoter says that he will fight. See, that's where you have a little bit of a problem. But I don't know if Ryan Garcia's contract is written like that. But that's why I think you hear a lot of fighters end up going broke or not being active, because once them and the promoter start having issues, things fall apart. Because De La Hoya obviously looking out for what's best for Golden Boy. He needs Ryan Garcia fighting because Ryan Garcia means money. And he doesn't, at this point, it almost seems like he doesn't care who he's fighting. He wants him against big, tough fights. And I think Oscar De La Hoya knows if Ryan loses, if he has a killer that gets Ryan out of there and gets Ryan's name on their resume, that killer more than likely will beat probably most of the people in the division. So it's a win for De La Hoya because this killer's profile gets raised. His platform, the Golden Boy platform, gets elevated. And now he gets to take that guy and put him in fights for more money for the fight and for the promoter, and just let him go through the gambit and just clip people, tranquilize them. And that's what I think. But I do think, I don't think money is the issue here. I just don't. I don't think money's the issue. I just don't think that's the issue. I think this is just a matter of Ryan Garcia feeling like he's not appreciated. But I wish there was a way to access that contract just to kind of read over the fine print, man. But one thing I'll say is the promoter, I just pulled up an article right here. It says, the promoter assumes all the financial risk, setting up a fight. And of course, they expect to get a huge chunk of the profit. But this is where the promoter's interests are directly opposed to the boxer's interests. The promoter and the boxer's manager negotiate the boxer's purse for the fight, how much money the boxer takes home for stepping in the ring. The boxer's respective purses are a cost involved in setting up the fight, just like supplying an ambulance and food vendors are cost. The larger a boxer's purse, the smaller the profit the promoter takes home. So the promoter's financial interests are best served by minimizing the boxer's purse as much as possible. And an unscrupulous promoter will take advantage of a young, hungry boxer who just wants to get in the ring and show what he or she can do. It's up to the manager to make sure the boxer gets a fair chunk of the pie. The promoter has no duty whatsoever to be fair to the boxer. And now that I gave you guys a little bit more perspective on promoters and how they can be and how that can result in tension and the relationship between the promoter and the fighter seeming to fragment. And I personally think that's kind of what's going on here. Ryan Garcia isn't treated with respect. De La Hoya argues with him on Twitter, clowns him about getting stopped by Gervonta. They still won't accept responsibility for not showing up to the post-fight press conference. They call him a kid when he's a grown man. They patronize him. They just disrespect him. So now what you see happening here is Oscar De La Hoya is flexing his promoter's hat. So who knows what happened with Ryan Garcia saying, I'm not fighting Ramirez, because it could boil down to De La Hoya saying, you know what? I'm going to teach you a lesson. I'm going to hit you in the pocket. We're going to put on this fight. This is what I'm going to give you. And it's nothing close to what you want to make. And there's nothing close to what you would have made fighting Rolly. And I'm going to put you in with a killer. And it could be where Ryan's manager gets involved and say, nah, this ain't worth it. Nope, not going to happen. And now you're basically at a standstill. Neither person wants to budge. It's a standoff now. But it comes back to the promoter and trying to minimize the cost, and also to see with the promoter where his loyalty lies. Is he going to be loyal to his fighter or not? And when you look at De La Hoya, I don't think De La Hoya is loyal to Ryan Garcia, period. I don't. I just think there's, we have a saying, right? Plenty shit starts to stink. And what you got over there at Golden Boy is a real crappy situation. And I just don't think it can be free Febreze down. I just don't think anybody can light an incense, come in there with Lysol. I don't care what you do, man. You can bleach that relationship down. It still won't disinfect it. Like, the shit is toxic and contaminated, and it's making people sick. So can Ryan Garcia buy himself out of his contract is the next question. And I think it's the next step. And I wouldn't be surprised with all the money Ryan Garcia made if he buys himself out. I wouldn't be surprised if he buys himself out of his contract. Because whatever Ryan Garcia does, because Mayweather and that team is smart. They'll take Ryan Garcia. They're not going to feed him to killers. they're going to sit there and keep building his profile, having him knock people out. It doesn't matter if he's fighting tomato cans. Look at Gervonta Davis. I think Gervonta Davis has fought stiff opposition, but a lot of people, they don't agree because they feel like Gervonta should have fought Devin Haney. Gervonta should fight Shakur Stevenson. Like, that's really, for the most part, the majority of people, that's kind of how they see things. But Gervonta Davis is getting paid hand over fist. You think Ryan Garcia can't be on that same path? Ryan Garcia has everything. Ryan Garcia is a turnkey operation. But De La Hoya and those guys, man, they just seem to be fumbling the ball. And I think Ryan Garcia should buy himself out and teach De La Hoya and Golden Boy how to treat their superstar fighters. Because you know what? They want to say he's cartoonish. They want to say he's a kid. Okay, but he's a goddamn superstar. He's the only true superstar you have. They want to try to build up Virgil Ortiz. Let me tell you, Virgil Ortiz's days are over. I'm telling you that right now. Virgil Ortiz will never return to form. Ever. It's over. That rhabdomyolysis messed him up. And it's unfortunate. Outside of that, Munguia may lose this weekend to Ryder. Outside of Munguia, what they have? A couple of guys just now kind of building up their profiles. But the guy who's ready to go is Ryan Garcia. And that's the one they're treating the worst. Horrible. So if you ask me who is in charge, I say the fighter. But who has a whole lot of control is that damn promoter. Who's the first line of defense for the fighter is his manager. So it looks like there's a war brewing, people. But at the end of the day, I hope Ryan Garcia gets himself out of that goddamn contract and get away from those guys. Can you imagine going in there to goddamn deal with De La Hoya, knowing this man doesn't truly care for you, but you put money in his pocket, and then B-Hop comes around, Ryan Garcia, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth. Now, you may not want to hear this, and I'm going to tell you because last night when I was looking at the stars, and I looked up there at the stars, and you won't want to believe this, Ryan, but when I looked up at those quasars, and I saw Sputnik, and I saw the cow jumped over the moon. Now, you won't believe me, Ryan, but I'm going to tell you. Because you got to understand with age comes wisdom. And with wisdom comes a whole lot of things. I can't even talk like Bernard Hopkins. But you get the picture, right? Ryan Garcia got to sit there and listen to these guys. Crazy. Yo, free Ryan Garcia. That's going to be the next video. Free Ryan Garcia. That's the movement that we need to start. Get him out of there ASAP. Horrible. Horrible. And you know what? I don't think he's putting duck sauce on the fried rice. I think he's letting them know, you're not going to treat me like crap and then try to put me in these fights where I'm not afraid to fight the guy, but you know these are fights where it's not what I want. It's not what I want. Ryan Garcia is in a position where he should be able to pick the fights he wants and his promoter should go make them. And they're not doing it. And don't get me wrong, if Rolly priced himself out, then you know what? Go back. Negotiate. Have a conversation. But don't just come out here and say, he priced himself out. We're just going to give you Ramirez. Yo, that's not how this works. Even Eddie Hearn will tell you, you don't accept the first offer. We never expect that. But that's when we expect you to come back, we negotiate until we can reach an agreement. And then if not, then it is what it is. And I personally, I don't think that's what's happening over there from the different things that I'm reading. That being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veteran 7 continents. Free Ryan Garcia. I think the fighter is the one who should be running the show. But at the end of the day, if you sign a contract that says the promoter can do X, Y, and Z, and De La Hoya is doing X, Y, and Z within those legal confines, Ryan Garcia is screwed. Breeze.